to the camp and tell my brother Bill that the woman he's loving sure gonna get him killed. Well, I heard mighty rumbling, and then I looked around. Was a northern and a southern, and that'll keep on down. Woo! Hey, hey, hey. Hey, Lord, Lord, hey, Lord. Hey, hey, hey. Lord, 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 hey, Lord. Roll on, roll on, roll on, Red River, roll on. I'm singing these blues because my love is gone.
Sonny Terry and Brownie McGee singing Hobo Blues. In tonight's programme, we'll be looking at rhythm and blues and trying to explain and demonstrate how many young white British singers and musicians have attempted to carry over what seems an essentially black American form into British music. Rhythm and blues, R&B, has as its basis the 12-bar blues such as we heard just now with the rhythm section added to it. Muddy Waters was probably the first man who had any commercial success with it. British bands in the early 60s, like the Yardbirds and the Animals, brought it into rock music over here, and it could be strongly argued that people like Eric Clapton and bands such as the Rolling Stones and Status Quo have stayed very close to R&B. We're going to look at R&B through the music of three bands who represent both the vitality of the music today and the 20-year history of R&B in this country. The Blues Band was formed only 2 years ago, but it comprises musicians who learned their trade in R&B and in the blues bands of the 60s. And their music clearly draws a good deal from traditional blues. Dr. Feelgood is probably most durable of all British R&B bands. They formed in the early 1970s, and their music, while still blues-based, is characterized by their hard-driving rock approach. The third band, 9 Below Zero, describe themselves as having come up in the thick of new wave music, but have, unfashionably in some ways, included some R&B standards in their repertoire, while in their own compositions they've made the form contemporary through their choice of subjects and their energetic approach to the music. In part two of Alan Benson's programme, we'll be taking a close look at the music itself with Dr. Feelgood and 9 Below Zero, but we start with Paul Jones of the Blues Band looking at some of the musical influences of rhythm and blues and how the form evolved in this country.
What do you reckon it read? Boy, hurry, hurry, that girl you love is dead. Got a letter this morning. What do you reckon it read? Boy, you better hurry, that girl you love is dead. I packed my suitcase, trucked on up the road. When I got there, she was laying on that cooling board. I packed my suitcase and I tracked on up the road.
I think the style of the Blues Band was really formed in the first 3 rehearsals and 2 pub gigs. It was just the music that I loved, which is the Chicago blues. Well, Chicago blues was really born. It was given birth by Muddy Waters and Little Walter in, say, for the sake of argument, 1950. The style of Muddy Waters is basically the style of the Blues Band, but added to that is how that would be filtered through the consciousness and the musical experience and all that we've ever heard of 5 white guys who came up through, Johnny Ray, Bill Haley, Elvis Presley, the Beatles, the Stones, and all that sort of thing. There's no way we could play it like Muddy Waters. We'd have to play it like people who'd listened to all that other stuff. When it started for me, it was a direct result of Lonnie Donegan. Lonnie Donegan, who was Chris Barber's banjo player, suddenly brought this kind of Big Bill Broonzy style music. That was exactly what Broonzy's style of music was. And I mean, Donegan's version was obviously filtered through his Glasgow and trad band sensibilities, but basically it was skiffle. That's where the word came from. Skiffle came from Chicago rent parties, of which the Brunsey, Memphis Slim, Sonny Boy Williamson style of music was exactly it. And Donegan sort of invented this whole new thing, English skiffle.
Now the world holds 7 wonders that the travellers always tell. Some gardens and some towers, I guess you know them well. But now the greatest wonder is in Uncle Sam's fair land. It's the big Columbia River and the big Grand Coulee Dam. She heads up the Canadian Rockies where the rippling waters glide. Comes a roaring down the canyon for to meet that salty tide of the big Pacific Ocean where the sun sinks in the west. In the big Grand Coulee country, in the land I love the best.
It was, I think, my first acquaintance with any music of that type. Like, I suppose, again, thousands of other people, I just moved from Donegan over to the real version. The first person I started to listen to was Leadbelly because he's the person that Donegan mentioned an awful lot about. And Big Bill Brunsey, we used to listen to all their records. I went into this shop where I regularly bought my records, and the guy said to me, "Oh, you like blues? What do you think of this?" And he played me on French Atlantic, a 10-inch album by T-Bone Walker, who was one of the great blues guitarists. And this one track out of this whole 12-track album had a harmonica on it. I didn't find out until years later that this harmonica player was Junior Wells. And it was Junior Wells, another great harp player, who turned me single-handedly onto playing blues harp. It was this extraordinary sort of wailing like a human being in some very severe distress. Sonny Boy Williamson, like Junior Wells, did not have a great technique, but what they're the masters of is just communicating so much with so few notes.
One more time.
One marvelous harmonica player who played with Gus Cannon's Jug Stompers, whose name was Noah Lewis. Noah was a character. but he was an amazing technician and an amazing player. There is the story in the song about the way he died, which was that he just went out one night and for some reason couldn't find his way home.
He walked all night out in the freezing snow. He walked all night out in the freezing snow. Well, that old man had a home, but you know his mind didn't live there no more. They found him next day. Folks tried to get him well. They cut off his feet where they had frozen. They found him next day. Folks tried to get him well. Yeah, but it didn't do no good, you know. They might as just have left him where he fell. Now, no played his harp, you know, and he sure did play the blues. But that weather don't care how well you play, it'll freeze you to hell in shoes. And it ain't but the one thing that really give a man the blues. Tell you what it is. That is walking out in the snow without no bottom to his last pair of shoes. All right now. His regular occupation was taking women from their other men. Said his regular occupation taking women from their other men. Well, maybe those women, I don't know. Maybe cocaine got him in the head. Now I got a girl.
It's often said that white people are so far from the roots of the blues that they must be detached from the sentiments expressed by it.
I don't feel detached from the lyrics of things like that. I feel in a sense that perhaps I am like that. There is a kind of defeatist and sort of acceptance of the world quality in blues lyrics. It's the difference between being a romantic and being classic, isn't it? The romantics think that there is actually a chance of achieving perfection by improving the world gradually, you know, generation by generation. The classical view is we're all pretty awful, actually, and the best we can do is to make the best of a bad job by actually organising things better. And I think as I get older, I incline more to that point of view, and so does the blues. So I don't feel... I feel the blues talks to me quite a lot in its lyrics, yeah.
Paul Jones started to play the blues in 1962 in an R&B club in Ealing, started by Alexis Corner and Cyril Davis, who the previous year had formed their own R&B band, Blues Incorporated. The Ealing Club became a gathering place for many young blues enthusiasts, including the founder members of Manfred Mann, of whom Paul Jones was the lead singer, and the Rolling Stones. In May 1962, Blues Incorporated were offered a residency at the Marquee Club in London, and the Rolling Stones made their first public appearance there 2 months later. At the same time, Georgie Fame and the Blue Flames were developing their own brand of R&B in another London club, the Flamingo. In the provinces, there were the Animals in Newcastle, Them in Belfast, and soon a healthy club scene and a whole new wave of bands had emerged.
That was one thing that was very exciting about the Ealing Club, was the sudden discovery that you were not alone. See, in 1961 or early 62, I can't exactly remember, I thought that I was the only man in England who really wanted to play electric blues, amplified, hard-driving rhythm and blues. I didn't know that there was Eric Burden up in
Newcastle, and there was Mick and Keith over in Dartford or Erith or wherever it is. And the thing about Alexis, one of the reasons Alexis was so important was that moving into the Ealing Club and starting up that band, the Alexis Corners Blues Incorporated, it was a real crusade. That was people who felt very strongly that, you know, the initial excitement of rock music had gone and had been replaced by the rather, you know, the college boy version of rock music, the, you know, nice boy next door. And they really wanted to bring back the hairiness, the animal quality of rock and roll, and so they were involved in R&B. The big album for us then, in, I suppose this would be about 61, was Muddy Waters Live at Newport, which was, you know, recorded in, I think, 60, and issued in 61. So it was right now. It wasn't old blues anymore. It wasn't revivalist stuff anymore. It was the music that was happening now in Chicago. And that, I remember, was tremendously exciting. When I first heard that record, with things like the live version of Got My Mojo working, great record.
Got my mojo wicked. Got my mojo wicked. Got my mojo wicked. Got my mojo wicked. Got my mojo wicked, but it just don't work on you. Got my mojo wicked.
The blues is not isolated. It crosses over into jazz and rock music, and you'll never have pure music again. In a way, thank heavens, you know, because it's only an excuse for people to deny that such music is the blues when we can all hear that it actually is.
Someday Baby is undeniably the blues. Dave Kelly of the Blues Band heard the song sung by Sleepy John Estes and made this arrangement using a riff made famous in the tune Green Onions. Characteristic of the world of the blues is this changing and rearranging of tunes and lyrics.
I don't care where you go, how long you stay. Good kind treatment gonna bring you home someday. Someday, baby, you ain't gonna worry my mind anymore. Bye, bye, baby.
The Rolling Stones achieved the first big commercial success of British R&B when their single, I Wanna Be Your Man, entered the charts at the end of 1963. Their aggressive style had massive appeal to the pop audience of the day. Many of the other bands involved in the R&B boom of that period followed the Stones into the charts, but their music lacked the rawness and attack it had in the clubs.
It became very big in '64, rhythm and blues, carried on here by Spencer Davis.
I told about my baby, now your baby, say my baby, she's so fine. I told about my baby, now your baby, say my baby, she's so fine. She's right there in love, and people come, rain or shine.
I love the way she walks.
Yeah, she walks.
I love the way she does.
Yeah, she does.
Make me feel so good.
Yeah, so good.
Just like a good man should.
Yeah, he should.
She never made me cry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's why.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
She not.
Google eyes swim by the hippo. Look up at me from the water. Google eyes jump and fall on your arm and get him up out of the water. Oh, goodbye. Google eye. Eat him up, Google eye, Google eye, Google eye. Eat him up, Google eye, Google eye, Google eye, goodbye.
One of the features of R&B is its constant return to its roots, the old blues. And the members of the blues band have always steeped themselves in original material. Sus Blues was adapted by Dave Kelly from an original song by bluesman Hamburn Willie Newburn. Blacks were often arrested on the street for no reason, and Kelly saw an analogy with the Sus laws.
When I left my hometown, trying to find a job for me. When I left my hometown, I was trying to find a job for me. Well, I was walking down the street, yeah, the police arrested me. Yeah, the police had taken me, came before the judge. Well, the police had taken me, came before the judge. Well, it's talking so fast now I couldn't hear not every word. Lawyer he pleaded, judge he wrote it down. Lawyer he pleaded, judge he wrote it down. Said I'll give you 30 days, oh boy, I'm gonna send you down. And it's Lordy, Lord, Lordy, Lordy, Lord. And it's Lordy, Lord, Lordy, Lordy, Lord. Well, the police he treat me like I was a low-down dog. Police he take me in, lock me up in jail. Police he take me in and lock me up in jail. I didn't have enough money, not enough to go my bail. Well, my baby bought me coffee, she brought me tea. Well, my baby bought me coffee, hey Lord, she brought me tea. Well, she bought me everything that set that jailhouse key. And it's Lordy, Lord, Lordy, Lordy, Lord.
Dr. Feelgood have been the backbone of British R&B for 10 years. They emerged in the early 70s, playing their then unfashionable brand of music at a time when rock was preoccupied with glitter and extravagance.
We all came from the same town, Canby Island in Essex. Sparko, the bass player, and myself were interested in starting a band which played old rhythm and blues stuff. Muddy Waters, John Hooker, Chuck Berry, all that kind of stuff. That was the music we were interested in playing.
Down to the doctors. Down to the doctors. Make you feel good all night.
90% of it was old material, and it wasn't even all strict R&B. We used to put in sort of old rock and roll songs as well for good measure, because we were playing in pubs and we wanted to please our audience, you know, to attract their attention for at least half the time. We'd play sort of old Buddy Holly songs.
We were taken notice of because of our weird appearance, our very ordinary appearance. You know, we weren't sort of dressing up in any particular clothes or anything. We were just finishing work and getting up to London quick and playing the gigs. I think that's maybe why people started to take notice of us, because of our strange appearance and a very unfashionable type of music.
Bring me down, child. All I can hear is the call of the wild. Ain't nobody living in my home. Just pure motor read like that.
I'm not a technical musician or a technical singer in any respect. I think that if you feel the song, it doesn't matter if you're not even particularly a good singer, you just do it, and almost as a matter of theatre, you put it across to an audience. My actual singing style, I must admit that I ripped most of it off from Howlin' Wolf. I saw Howlin' Wolf when I was about 16, and that was one of the finest performances I've ever seen in my life. There was this man, like 60 years old, with grizzled grey hair, a real tatty 1940s mohair suit. I thought he looked the business myself, you know, and he was the king, right? He came out on the stage and there was an old man, and he got up and he just rocked, and a big fella, and he moved about, and he had a